Welcome to the first episode of Love Letter to Myself. This is a podcast on love, healing, and all things holistic. And we are doing it for the mind, the body, and the spirit. Everything that you would need to know is going to be included in this podcast. And I hope you enjoy the first episode. I'm just here to be the vessel. So I welcome you as you welcome me. And I hope that this helps you on your healing journey. Take what resonates and leave the rest for somebody else. Thank you. All right. So this episode, I want to give everybody the blueprint. I want to give everybody the blueprint on how to heal. So many of us that want to heal, we want to do it so bad, but we get caught in these same cycles, in these same loops of I feel good one day, the next day I don't. And I want to get us out of the loop of feeling good one day and then the next day I am back in these same patterns, the same relationships. I told myself that I was going to do better and then I didn't do better. And I told myself that I was going to work out today and I didn't work out today. I told myself I was going to stop texting that ex and I still text him. So I have experienced all of these things, and I think that social media and society gives us a lot of information, and that is because, for one, it can capitalize off us healing holistically. It can capitalize off of that, and sometimes it does not do it in a healthy way. It does not give us this space to heal healthy, to heal healthy, to heal in a way that allows us to really heal, to really get to the root of it. Sometimes it really just still puts a band aid on a wound that needs stitches. And we're wondering why we can't heal. Sometimes it's not just a pretty quote. Sometimes I need somebody to get in my face and tell me, hey, get your life together. But still, how do I do that? So for me and my journey, I learned about holistic healing and things like that. I would say in 2017 officially is when I realized that I had a lot of deep core wounds that were resurfacing. Some that I didn't even understand that I had, like abandonment issues, daddy issues, and trauma from trigger warning. I am going to talk about sexual abuse. So just a trigger warning if you need to gather yourself. I understand. But yes, so trauma from sexual abuse as a kid. I knew about that trauma and I knew I had experienced that trauma, but I didn't know how it was showing up because I was not aware of a lot of these traumas. I was just like, okay, I had experienced that, but sometimes I get emotional when I think about it, but you know, other than that, I don't think that I have any core issues with that. I think that, that just happened and I'm moving on and there's that. As I got older and in 2017, that is when the abandonment wound started to creep on in and the emotional abuse that I had experienced had started to creep on in, the bullying that I experienced, and just the feeling of just lack and just hurt and pain started to creep in on me. I was able to start my healing journey by evolving myself spiritually. I started there, and then from there, everything kind of like trickled into each other with eating healthier and then just learning about the mind and understanding psychology and understanding why we do the things that we do because I started seeing a lot of similarities to some of the people. And so I started going deeper into why I am the way I am. And that was my start. Why do I think like this? Are there any other people who think like this? Are there any people who have these issues, who have these experiences? Am I the only person out here? And I started meeting people who I started to see myself in. I want to say that even though there is a lot of information out here on what we should do and how we should do it, I would like to start and tell everybody to start by talking to their inner child. We like to say our personality is set. that our personality is just our personality, and I am this way because I just am this way. But a lot of times it is due to the fact that we have had experiences that made us project this identity outwardly, project this identity onto people, even though at the core of it, that is not truly who we are. That is just who we had to show up as, and that is who we had to be. If you are a procrastinator, it's probably not just because you just procrastinate. It's probably not because you don't want to do nothing productive. It's probably because you have a fear around doing something wrong, and you just choose to not do it at all because you may do it wrong, or maybe you're in a depressive state and your mind won't allow you to physically get up. There are a lot of things that could cause you to be a procrastinator. But if you don't go into the deeper work, or why do you want to do something and you just don't do it? Why is it that you start on something but you don't finish? Why is it that you give, but when it comes to giving to yourself, you do not do that? There are so many things that we have just stated that this is just my personality. This is just who I am. But it is your inner child trying to do what it does, and it is speak. It is trying to show you how you have had to show up, how you have had to be. And a lot of times we project onto other people the wounds of our inner child. Your inner child wounds could be guilt, abandonment, trust, neglect, and that could manifest into projection, dissociation, narcissistic tendencies, codependency, enmeshment, or loss of self, trust issues, fear of intimacy, fear of abandonment. And a lot of those things manifest into our relationships, and a lot of us, and oftentimes I see this, where people inner child starts to act up. Sometimes we may get upset with somebody when their inner child shows up because we think that that's them. So say for instance you're in a situation and something triggered you, right? Something triggered you. Something somebody said triggered you. And your first initial response was to lash out. Somebody cut you off and you decided to lash out and cuss them out because they didn't see you and you were right there. And no. Now, yes, you should have boundaries and you should say, hey, excuse me, I was right here. But that ultimate initial reaction to just lash out and just to spaz, and hey, they didn't even see you. They honestly didn't. You were in their peripheral vision and they actually can't see out their peripheral. Actually, in that eye, they were blind. But they just honestly made a mistake. They didn't try to overlook you, they just made a mistake. Well, what happened right there was your inner child spoke. The inner child that was never heard, was never seen, was never valued, said that here it goes again, somebody not seeing me, ignoring me. And your inner child did what an inner child would do, and that is throw a fit. What do kids do when they want to be seen? When you're not listening to them? Don't they throw a fit? Yes, they do. And a lot of times when we act out and we cry and we have a tantrum and we do things that seem childlike, is due to our inner child saying, hey, there it goes again. I said this thing, you didn't pay attention. I expressed my feelings, you brushed it off, and you're telling me yet again that I don't matter. A lot of the times, it is just us talking to our inner child. We're not even mad at that person. Our inner child is mad at the person who initially started us to feel like this, which could be a parent, a caregiver, or a sibling, or anything. But that first initial person who did that, who made you feel just unloved and devalued you and made you feel neglected and abandoned, that is that person who you see in front of you. Not the old lady who mistake who who didn't see you, who mistakenly, that's what I was looking for, who mistakenly walked past you and cut you in line. And a lot of times it is going to be our inner child that is speaking out, that is telling the story. Now, we could allow our inner child to continue to tell the story, or we can go into the deeper depths of healing. We can go into our deep, 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 deep selves and learn, what did I experience as a kid and how is that showing up in my life? We can talk to our inner child. Sometimes we project due to the fact that we see that same occurrence. We see you as that person who hurt us, who abandoned us. I see you as that person. I don't see you as the person who you are, who honestly made a mistake or who is showing up in whatever way that you're supposed to show up. I see you as this person who hurt me. And in order to truly cultivate a space where you are loving to yourself and you are loving to other people, because hey, here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. You cannot be loving to someone else and not be loving to yourself. You have to show up for yourself. Your inner child wants to be heard, it wants to be seen. In order to actually start the healing process to heal your inner child and to actually start working on evolving, you have to understand when it is your inner child talking. When is your inner child talking and what is it trying to say? Your inner child is trying to always tell you to bring me back to a place of safety and security. Now, if you have not learned what safety and security is, you may manifest chaos in your life. If you cultivated a space that being chaotic was safe, that being in toxic relationships because you saw a toxic relationship in your family, you saw toxicity in your upbringing, you may manifest that for you and only feel safe when there is toxicity around. I see it so much in life, and I even experienced this as well. When there was no chaos, I did not feel good. I did not feel loved. If there wasn't always somebody telling me that they love me, if my partner didn't tell me like I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, then I didn't feel love. So I would make a fight, nitpick, do something because that soothed me. Because you were gonna fight for me, you are arguing with me, and then we have to make up. You have to tell me sorry or have to hug me and do all of this and everything like that. Or even if you decided to go ahead and leave, then I would end up having to apologize to you and being like, no, don't do that, don't go. And it created a chaotic cycle that made me feel soothed and comforted. And once I started to understand what exactly it was, I didn't like it anymore. But because of my inner child, that was the only time that she felt safe. That was the only time that she really truly felt love if she didn't hear it, was by causing a commotion and lashing out and flipping tables. I had to inform her on a new way of being, and I had to provide her with a new safe space, with her understanding that, hey, just because a fight is not happening does not mean that they don't love you. Having a fight does not mean that. And so I found other ways to start healing my inner child. There are so many ways that people would like to say, and they would like to say journaling and just observing when these moments happen. But sometimes when you have been really, really hurt and been through so much in life, it's not that easy to just say, you know what, I'm just going to start living my life differently today. That would be such in la la fairy tale land. And trust me, I am la la fairy tale land girl. I love living in the la la fairy tale land. But I like to be realistic also, and I like to understand, how can I truly heal? Some of the ways I started to do it was not only study my inner child by books, I studied my inner child by watching how she showed up and correcting her when need be. So if she lashed out, she did. But I sat with her after that to talk about it. Well, why did you do this? Well, how can we do something better? So that way she was being aware of the times that she did it, but I was bringing attention to it so that way I can start catching myself when I would do it. But beyond that, you have to put in place new ideals, new ideas, but you also have to start maneuvering and taking out the old programming. So, where I would lash out and where I would want a fight, I would give myself what it was that I truly wanted. And that is to be seen and to be heard. So, what are some ways that I can show her that she is seen and she is heard? Some of the ways that I needed to do that was by giving her her favorite show, by telling her, I love you, by giving her something very good and nutritious to eat that made her feel warm and loving, by playing her favorite song, by letting her do whatever it was that she wanted to do that day. Whereas that painting, coloring, and just reading a book or just doing whatever it was, going to look at flowers, showing her different ways on how she can respond to when she feels like this. Here's what I can give you. I can give you the love that you want. It all starts with yourself. You have to show up for yourself and give yourself the love that you always wanted. I know that sometimes we want it from somebody else, but we will keep wanting it from somebody else until we start showing up and showing ourselves that we are the ones who we need the love from. You have to show up for yourself. You have to show up for yourself each and every day. And with that, you will start seeing the world differently. You will start being able to heal those abandonment issues. You will be able to trust. You will be able to feel love and know that you are worthy of it. And it does not have to be toxic. It does not have to be crazy. And it does not have to be chaotic. So from there, you can go ahead and continue to love on yourself. But you have to first start with making yourself aware. It is not to shun your inner child, to tell her that I hate you for doing that. It is showing her love and compassion that when she does freak out, when she does feel unsafe, it is your job, no one else's job, to make her feel comforted because sometimes they never will. So she's going to spend the rest of y'all life not feeling safe, not feeling valued, you are re-damaging her. You have to learn how to heal and parent the inner child. Give her the same grace and love that you would to somebody else, like you would to your kid, if you would do that. But you need to start. If you got kids and you need to love on them, you need to do that. But beyond that, you need to start showing up for her as if she truly was the love of your life. If she was that important. And so that means you are going to try to understand her. And if you don't understand her in that moment, you're going to ask her questions. You're going to literally sit there. I literally sit in meditations and ask my inner child, why did you do this? What do you feel? What do you want? How are you? Once you start doing that, you will open up a space to truly heal, evolve, and grow. So, yes, that is the first episode. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next episode. Sending you so much love, so much light, so much healing energy. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being you. And I'm wishing and praying that you have a great, great life full of abundance, full of love, full of happiness and joy and peace. It is so. Ashe, ashe, ashe.